12 Monkeys wasn't just science fiction, it was madness made visible, a prophecy filmed through cracked glass. Director Gilliam didn't direct a thriller, he built a collapsing maze where past and future cannibalized each other. Actor Brad Pitt signed on thinking it was an action film. Bruce Willis took the role to escape his action image. And somewhere between visions, viruses, and a boy watching a man die in an airport, the film became something else entirely. A loop with no exit, a warning disguised as entertainment. These are 20 hidden details you completely missed in 12 Monkeys. Number 1. The film opens with young Cole watching a man die. A woman screams. A blonde man runs. Blood spreads across white tile under fluorescent airport light. Most viewers assume it's atmosphere, dream logic, the kind of murky intro that establishes tone without meaning. But every element in that sequence is precise. The coat color shifts between scenes. The woman's scream echoes differently each time Cole remembers it. Gilliam shot the sequence multiple times with slight variations in camera angle, lighting temperature, and background movement. He instructed the editor to splice them together so no two dream sequences matched perfectly. The goal was to show memory as unreliable, warped by trauma and time. Cole isn't remembering the event, he's reconstructing it, pulling fragments from a loop he's already lived. And when the final scene arrives, when the pieces lock into place, you realize the opening wasn't foreshadowing, it was documentation. The future watching itself die in the past. Number 2. Brad Pitt's character, Jeffrey Goins, talks fast, moves faster, gestures wildly with hands that never stop. Most of it looks like manic energy, the physical tics of a character unraveling, but several of Pitt's hand movements weren't random. They were based on American Sign Language. During production, Pitt worked with a consultant who taught him specific gestures that translated to words like danger, run, and look closer. The signs appear during Cole's first encounter with Jeffrey in the psychiatric ward. When Jeffrey rants about consumerism and germs, his fingers spell out fragments that make no sense in context but resonate later. Pitt never announced the technique, he just layered it in, trusting that subconsciously viewers might feel something intentional beneath the chaos. And they did. Audiences described Jeffrey as unsettling in ways they couldn't articulate because the madness had structure, the raving had perfect order, and the truth was hiding in plain sight, spoken by hands no one was watching. Number 3. Every time the future scientists appear, the camera distorts them. Low angles make them tower over Cole. Harsh overhead lighting casts shadows across their faces, obscuring expressions. Their movements are slow, deliberate, exaggerated. Gilliam instructed cinematographer Roger Pratt to shoot them like authority figures in a dystopian prison film. Not saviors, not heroes, jailers. The visual language was intentional. Gilliam wanted audiences to feel Cole's terror, not just see it. So the scientists were framed through wide-angle lenses that warped perspective, making rooms feel smaller, ceilings lower, walls closer. Their voices were processed in post-production to sound metallic, distant, as if transmitted through speakers rather than spoken live. The message was clear. Cole wasn't being rescued, he was being controlled. And the future wasn't salvation, it was another cage. Number 4. The scenes of Cole chained, hosed down, interrogated in the future weren't filmed on a soundstage. They were shot inside Eastern State Penitentiary in Philadelphia, a real abandoned prison closed since 1971. The rust stains running down concrete walls were untouched. The dripping pipes, the mold, the cracked floors, all authentic. The crew worked in freezing conditions. The prison had no heat, no functioning plumbing, and barely any light. Bruce Willis later described it as one of the most uncomfortable shoots of his career. But Gilliam insisted he wanted the environment to do half the acting, and it worked. The oppressive atmosphere, the decay, the sense of being buried alive in history, it bled into every frame. Brad Pitt reportedly said the location made him understand Jeffrey's desperation without needing additional motivation, because the walls themselves whispered madness, and no amount of production design could replicate what time and abandonment had already built. Number 5. In the final scene, a woman sits beside Dr. Peters on the airplane. She introduces herself as an insurance agent. Her voice is calm, her smile professional, her posture relaxed, and she doesn't blink, not once. Across the entire conversation, her eyes remain wide, unblinking, locked on Peters like a predator watching prey. Gilliam cast actress Carol Florence specifically for her ability to hold her eyes open without visible strain. He instructed her to avoid blinking during takes, using eye drops between setups to prevent discomfort. The effect is deeply unsettling. She appears human but slightly off, as if mimicking human behavior without fully understanding it. And that's the point. She's from Cole's future, sent back to monitor Peters, possibly not entirely human anymore. The lack of blinking becomes a visual cue, a signal that the loop isn't broken, that the future is still watching, still controlling, and no amount of sacrifice changes the outcome. Number 6. 12 Monkeys is inspired by la Jetée, a 1962 French short film constructed almost entirely from still photographs. The original told the story of a time traveler haunted by a childhood memory of witnessing death at an airport. Sound familiar? But Gilliam didn't just borrow the plot, he absorbed the visual language. Several sequences in 12 Monkeys pause on static images, holding frames longer than natural, creating a stutter-step rhythm that echoes photographic montage. The opening credits play over frozen faces and landscapes. Cole's fragmented memories flash in rapid succession, like photographs shuffled and reshuffled. Even the sound design mimics silence broken by sudden noise, the way still images break into motion. Gilliam later admitted the entire film was a love letter to Marker's work, an attempt to translate photographic poetry into live-action cinema. And for those who knew the source material, 12 Monkeys became more than adaptation, it became conversation. Number 7. Bruce Willis spoke his early lines while biting the inside of his cheek. The technique created a muffled, pained tone, making dialogue sound strangled, hesitant, broken. Gilliam told him to sound like someone pulled out of hibernation, someone who barely remembered how human speech worked. So Willis added physical tension to every word, forcing air through clenched teeth, swallowing syllables, letting sentences trail into silence. The effect is visceral. Cole doesn't sound like an action hero. He sounds damaged, traumatized, like someone whose vocal cords forgot their purpose. In the psychiatric ward scenes, his voice cracks repeatedly, breaking mid-sentence as if emotion and language collided and neither survived intact. Gilliam never corrected it. He encouraged it, because Cole's fractured speech mirrored his fractured timeline, and every stammered word became evidence that the past, present, and future were grinding against each other inside one man's throat. Number 8. Catherine Rayleigh begins the film in crisp blues and whites, colors of clinical skepticism, professional detachment, scientific certainty. Her wardrobe is immaculate, her hair controlled, her posture rigid. She represents order in a world spiraling toward chaos. But as she believes Cole, as she steps further into his impossible story, her appearance shifts. The blues fade, earth tones emerge, browns, reds, tans, colors pulled from Cole's feral world. Costume designer Julie Weiss tracked the transformation across every scene. By the midpoint, Catherine's clothing has softened, fabrics loosened, colors warmed. By the finale, she's visually indistinguishable from Cole's aesthetic. She's wearing the same palette, the same textures, the same disheveled urgency. She started as the scientist diagnosing the madman. She ended as the believer trapped in his timeline, and her wardrobe told the entire story without a single line of dialogue. Number 9. The woman in the red coat appears multiple times. She's in the airport dream. She's in the background when Cole first escapes. She's visible through windows, across streets, standing in crowds Cole never directly acknowledges. She's not a character. She's a visual symbol. Red coat, blonde hair, always watching, always present. Gilliam called her the film's silent witness, the embodiment of inevitability. The production team placed her strategically, never in focus, never central, always peripheral. She exists in the margins of Cole's awareness, a constant he can't escape, and her presence suggests something darker. That fate isn't just predestined, it's watching, it has a face, and no matter how many times Cole travels through time, she's already there, waiting in the background, proof that the loop was always closed before it began. Number 10. The film ends at the airport. Catherine screams. Blood spreads. The camera holds on her face, grief and recognition colliding. And if you watch closely, just before the screen fades, a faint reflection appears on the glass behind her. Young Cole, barely visible, distorted, watching from the future or the past, or somewhere outside time entirely. The reflection completes the loop. The ending doesn't just imply the cycle continues, it shows it. Young Cole is already there, already watching, already doomed to grow into the man who dies in front of him. The past observes the present, observing the future, observing the past, and the glass between them reflects everything at once. No escape, no deviation, just one endless loop, watching itself repeat forever. Number 11. The infamous time travel machine, the device that hurls Cole backward and forward through decades, wasn't designed by futurists. It was assembled from discarded medical equipment, industrial tubing, and scrap metal. Gilliam insisted it looked like something built by people who barely understood what they were doing. Not elegant, not advanced, desperate. The production design team scavenged junkyards, hospitals, and salvage yards, collecting broken gurneys, IV stands, old dialysis machines, corroded pipes. They welded it together into something that looked functional, but improvised, as if the future's greatest scientific achievement was duct tape and prayer. And the visual message landed. This wasn't Star Trek. This was survival. Humanity clinging to technology it inherited, but couldn't replicate, and Cole wasn't a hero. He was just another part thrown into the machine, hoping it worked long enough to matter. Number 12. Gilliam used Catherine's hair length and style as a visual marker for where she existed in Cole's fractured timeline. Short and neat represented skepticism, clinical distance, professional control. As her belief grew, her hair lengthened, loosened, became disheveled. By the finale, it matched the wild, unkempt aesthetic of Cole's world. The continuity team tracked every variation, ensuring that hair length corresponded to narrative belief. It created a subliminal roadmap. Audiences could subconsciously gauge Catherine's transformation just by glancing at her silhouette. And when the timeline fractured, when scenes jumped between past and present, her hair became the anchor. A visual clock ticking backward and forward, measuring not time, but faith. The smallest details became the most precise storytelling tools Gilliam had. Number 13. Cole's patient number in the psychiatric ward is 042. The number appears on clothing, paperwork, door placards, wristbands. Most viewers assume it's random, but in numerology, 42 symbolizes cycles closing, loops completing, journeys ending where they began. Gilliam chose it deliberately, embedding the film's central theme into a detail most people never consciously registered. The number appears in other Gilliam films too, a recurring signature hidden across his filmography. But in 12 Monkeys, it carries extra weight because Cole's entire existence is a closed cycle. He's patient 042 because his fate was sealed before he was born. The number isn't identification, it's prophecy. And every time it flashes on screen, it whispers the truth. There is no escape, only return. Number 14. The man who tells Cole, "I know you're from the future," was filmed with a hidden earpiece. During takes, Gilliam fed him lines mid-scene, changing dialogue on the fly to make his speech unpredictable, erratic, unnerving. The actor never knew what he'd be asked to say next, so his delivery stayed raw, spontaneous, genuinely strange. The technique created one of the film's most unsettling moments. The prophet isn't just rambling, he's speaking truth disguised as madness, channeling information he shouldn't possess. And because the dialogue was improvised in real time, it feels less scripted and more like genuine prophecy, as if the homeless man actually could see through time, as if madness and clarity were the same thing. And Cole's horrified reaction wasn't just acting, it was Willis responding to something genuinely unpredictable happening in front of him. Number 15. When Cole panics at the security checkpoint, shouting about viruses and the future and timelines collapsing, Bruce Willis improvised most of the performance. Extras weren't told he would break away from the line. Their reactions, the confusion, the fear, the way they step back, it's all real. Gilliam let the cameras roll, capturing genuine human response to sudden chaos. The scene works because it's uncontrolled. Cole's desperation bleeds into the crowd's alarm, and the boundary between fiction and reality blurs. For a few seconds, the extras aren't acting, they're reacting, and that authenticity turns a scripted moment into something far more visceral. Willis later said it was one of his favorite moments to film because he felt truly unpredictable, because the best performances aren't planned, they're unleashed. Number 16. Gilliam directed actors in future scenes to speak slightly out of sync with their intentions. Lines were delivered at odd rhythms, starting too early or ending late, pausing in strange places, emphasizing wrong syllables. The goal was to create a subconscious feeling of distortion, as if language itself had degraded in the post-apocalyptic world. The technique required precision. Actors had to know their lines perfectly, then deliberately break the natural rhythm. Some started sentences before the previous speaker finished. Others left long silences mid-thought, and the result is deeply unsettling. Conversations in the future feel off, wrong, like listening to a recording played at the wrong speed. It reinforces that this world isn't just physically ruined, it's linguistically fractured, and even speech has become a broken tool. Number 17. Each time Cole dreams of the airport shooting, the camera angle shifts. Different parts of the crowd are shown, the lighting changes, even the sound mix shifts, emphasizing different screams, different footsteps, different background noise. Gilliam shot the sequence from multiple perspectives and edited them together, so no two iterations match perfectly. The effect is cumulative. On first viewing, you don't notice. By the third or fourth rewatch, you realize something's different but can't pinpoint what, and that uncertainty mirrors Cole's experience. He's reliving a memory that changes every time he accesses it. The past isn't fixed, it's mutable, shaped by trauma and repetition. And the film doesn't just tell you memory is unreliable, it shows you, forcing you to experience the same disorientation Cole does. Number 18. Throughout the film, city posters visible in backgrounds show imagery of contagion, masks, destruction. They appear long before Cole learns the truth about the virus, scattered across streets, subway stations, building walls. walls. Most viewers never noticed them consciously, but the production design team planted clues everywhere, hiding the future in the present. One poster shows a biohazard symbol overlaid with a clock. Another depicts masked figures fleeing. A third shows the Earth covered in red. They're visible for seconds, easily missed, never explained, but they're there. Proof that the apocalypse wasn't just coming, it was already embedded in the world, waiting to be recognized. And the design team made sure that on repeat viewings, the ending was always visible. You just had to know where to look. Number 19. When young Cole witnesses the airport shooting, the older woman screaming is Catherine. The film never explicitly confirms this, but the visual cues are unmistakable. Her hairstyle matches, her color palette matches, her movement, the way she reaches toward the dying man mirrors adult Catherine's gestures in later scenes. The implication is devastating. Catherine doesn't just enter Cole's life, she's always been there, trapped in the same loop, witnessing his trauma from both ends. She becomes both participant and observer in Cole's circular fate, and the boy watching his own death doesn't know the woman screaming is the same woman who will one day love him, believe him, and watch him die again. Number 20. The film closes on Dr. Peters' seatmate, the woman who doesn't blink, smiling as the plane takes off. Her expression is calm, satisfied, knowing. She's a scientist from Cole's future, sent to monitor Peters, ensure the virus spreads, maintaining the timeline. And her smile confirms it. Cole's death didn't stop anything. The virus is still in motion, the apocalypse is still coming, and the future is still in control. Gilliam wanted the ending to feel like a trap snapping shut, not a resolution, a reset. Cole sacrificed everything, and nothing changed. The timeline rolled forward exactly as it always had, and the scientist's smile, serene and terrifying, is the film's final punctuation, a visual statement that fate isn't just inevitable, it's supervised, and humanity's extinction was always part of the plan. 12 Monkeys wasn't just science fiction, it was a collapsing vision of time, madness, and fate looping endlessly in on itself. Terry Gilliam didn't build a thriller, he built a maze with no exit, where every detail, every gesture, every background element whispered the same truth. You can't change what's already happened. And the more you watch, the more you realize the ending was always the beginning. Which detail twisted your mind the most?